So how do we fight back against something like that? Well, that brings us to oxalic acid. It's a really effective and super common weapon that beekeepers have in their arsenal to get Varroa populations under control. So what is this stuff anyway? Well, it's an organic acid. You actually find it naturally in a ton of plants, like rhubarb and spinach. The best part for us is that it's incredibly effective against mites, and it dissolves in water, which makes it pretty straightforward to work with.
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. First up, we have our first set of methods. These are called wet treatments. And as you can probably guess, they involve using oxalic acid in a liquid solution.
The two main ways to do this are spraying and dripping. They're really similar, kind of two sides of the same coin. The whole idea is simple. You're getting a carefully mixed, diluted solution of the acid right onto the bees themselves as they're clustered between the frames.
And would you look at how simple this recipe is? It's super straightforward. You just need 30 grams of oxalic acid dihydrate, and you dissolve it really well in 1 liter of either plain water or a light sugar syrup. That's it. Simple, but it gets the job done. So, how do you actually apply it? Well, first, of course, you mix that solution until it's completely dissolved. Then you can use a big syringe to drip it, or even just a bottle with some holes poked in the cap to create a sprayer. You want to apply a light mist right onto the bees. And listen, the key word here is light. Do not drench your bees. A gentle coating is all it takes. A little spritz on the hive walls is a good move too. Okay, there are a few really important things to keep in mind here. First, temperature matters. You want to do this when it's below 30 degrees Celsius. This method is also fantastic, really effective, for treating a new package of bees. And know this, it's not a one-and-done deal. You're going to repeat this treatment 4 times, and you need to wait 4 days between each application. That schedule is absolutely key to success. All right, let's move on to our next category. This is a totally different approach. We're talking about vapor treatments, which use heat to turn the acid into a vapor or a fog that can get everywhere inside the hive. First step in this category is sublimation, which you'll also hear called vaporization. For this, you use a special tool, a vaporizer, to heat up solid oxalic acid crystals. It turns them straight from a solid into a gas. One of the huge advantages of this method is that you don't even have to open up the hive. You do the whole thing right through the entrance. And the dose for this? It's simple too. You just need about 2 grams of the solid oxalic acid crystals for each hive. And notice we are using the dry crystals here, not the liquid solution we talked about before. So here's the play-by-play. First, you put your 2 grams of crystals into the vaporizer. Then you seal up the hive entrance but leave just a little opening for the tool. Insert the hot vaporizer and leave it for a few minutes until all those crystals have turned into vapor. After that, you pull the vaporizer out and then completely seal the entrance for a few more minutes so the vapor can really circulate and do its job. Now there's another vapor-style method, and it's called fogging. This one uses a device that's basically a mini fog machine. It creates a really fine mist of the oxalic acid solution. But, and this is a huge but, the way you prepare the solution is totally different. Pay close attention to this. For fogging, you do not dissolve the crystals in water. I'll say it again, no water. For this to work, they have to be dissolved in pure alcohol. A common mix is about 2 grams of acid for every 100 milliliters of alcohol. Getting this part right is absolutely essential. So let's just put them side by side so it's crystal clear. Sublimation, or vaporizing, uses solid dry crystals and heats them directly into a gas. Fogging takes that liquid solution, the one made with pure alcohol, and atomizes it into a dense fog. You can't mix these up. You've got to use the right prep for the right tool, or it's just not going to work. Okay, everyone, let's pause here, because we have reached what is, without a doubt, the most important part of this entire conversation. Let's talk safety, because using these treatments is about protecting your bees, yes, but protecting yourself has to be priority number 1. This stuff is no joke. The safety gear we're showing you here is completely non-negotiable. We're talking chemical-resistant gloves, safety goggles, or a full face shield for your eyes, long sleeves to make sure your skin is covered, and, this is a big one, a proper respirator rated for acid vapors, not a dust mask, a real respirator. There are 0 shortcuts here. I really want this to sink in. Oxalic acid can be absorbed right through your skin, and breathing in the vapor or the mist is seriously dangerous for your lungs. Your safety is not an optional extra. It's not a suggestion. It is the most critical step in the whole process, and you have to handle this stuff with the utmost respect. So, there you have it. We've gone over the methods, the recipes, and the absolute must-do safety rules. You've got the tools, so the only question left is, what are you going to do with them? How are you going to build a Varroa mite management plan into your yearly beekeeping calendar? Because having a plan is what leads to healthy, thriving hives.